What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room yet again, always with another one. And yes, indeed, it is another one. So, as you can clearly see, and this is a different situation here. Apparently, Governor Tate Reeves of Mississippi has signed a bill stating that, by 2030, Mississippi is going to phase out state income tax. Okay, it's going to be gone. And yes, there are other states in the union that do not have state income tax and things like that, but we're going to get into that as well. So we're going to dive off here first. Let's check this out. Quarters, nickels, and dimes, people.
Governor Tate Reeves signed House Bill 1 into law, eliminating the state's individual income tax. 12 News' Cameron Smith has the latest details on this historic tax overhaul bill.
Lawmakers in the House and the Senate stood on the steps of the governor's mansion as they watched the governor sign House Bill 1 into law.
House Bill 1 is now law.
This bill cuts the state income tax from 4% to 3% by 2030. After that, additional cuts will depend on economic growth. But a typo in the bill's language could accelerate the cuts faster than planned.
Our people should be rewarded for hard work, not punished. And that Mississippi has the potential to be a magnet for opportunity, a magnet for investment.
So apparently Governor Tate Reeves is seeing the big picture here. For the longest, and I'm not going to lie to you, for the longest, Mississippi has been a very closed off place, especially economically and things like that. So now Governor Tate Reeves is seeing some type of light and things like that. And in his administration, he wants to see if we can open up Mississippi, bring in more revenue, companies, businesses, and things like that from the outside and stuff like that. Definitely in Mississippi, Nissan is here and things like that. And, Nissan was a huge deal when it came to Mississippi. It's a lot of things that can happen here that will actually open the doors for Mississippi to gain more revenue and more traffic and more people to move here, and more taxpayer. Well, it's not going to be any taxpayers, but we still get taxed. Everybody gets taxed. Gas, food, things like that. So yeah, taxes are still in place. Just the income, the personal income tax is going to be eliminated.
And a magnet for talent and for families looking to build a better life.
The governor challenged lawmakers to find a way to put a bill on his desk with a plan to fully eliminate the state income tax. Early in this session, the House passed House Bill 1, known as the Build Up Mississippi Act. The Senate revised it before sending it back to the House, where it passed once again.
With that vote, they are creating an environment that attracts investment and fosters long-term economic success for all Mississippians.
The bill also includes lowering the grocery tax from 7% to 5% and raising the gas tax from 18 cents to 27 cents per gallon.
So lowering the grocery tax from 7% to 5% and lowering the gas tax. Wow. Okay.
By 2027. Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hoosman says this bill will bring a lasting change to the state.
Some may have doubted, and sometimes maybe even ourselves, whether or not we could have one big, beautiful bill.
The public employees retirement system will also see a significant change. State employees hired after March 2026 would split contributions between a traditional pension and a 401k style plan. There are lawmakers who say they do not like everything that is inserted in HB 1, but Senate Bill 3095 is still alive and it is in conference. We will see if any negotiations or changes come out of that bill this session. If a deal does not get done, they have several years to make changes to this law. Reporting from the governor's mansion, Cameron Smith.
So, okay, it is what it is at this point. Governor Tate Reeves is trying to, maybe move Mississippi forward because, for so long, and we've heard it from, all over America and things like that, Mississippi, is just such trash place to go. And Mississippi doesn't have anything that's worth being there. And, we've heard these things. We've heard these things throughout decades and stuff like that. So before let's go here now. I want to check this out. I want to see what states are actually income tax free. Okay, so the states with no income tax in 2025. Okay, so we got Alaska here, we got Florida, which we all know, Nevada, we know that too, New Hampshire, I didn't know that. Okay, South Dakota, definitely didn't know that. Tennessee, I knew that. Texas, I knew that. Washington, I didn't know that either, and Wyoming. So we do have a substantial amount of states that have removed the state income tax for their citizens and things like that. But, I guarantee you, though, listen, look, and I get it, we still have to understand that places are going to need, the taxes for the legal systems and, basically police officers, other things, city workers. Yeah, they get paid off the tax. So let's go here now, because we're going to keep going. And let's see what this young lady had to say about the situation as far as the state income tax and how it may affect, Mississippians. Let's go here now. Let's check this out.
So Mississippi just decided to rid itself of its income tax. And Mississippi MAGA is taking a victory lap, but that should probably be reconsidered. See, taxes are like the state's income. And if you remove the state's income, it still has bills to pay, which means that it's still going to be made up in some way, because in some way, Mississippi will have to come up with the funds to pay its bills. Income taxes are progressive, which means that the more that you make, the more money you pay into the system. In lieu of an income tax, what's going to wind up happening is that it's going to be made up in other taxes, sales tax, property taxes. You may look at other states like Florida that doesn't have an income tax and think that looks pretty great, and it does. But Florida has a huge tourist industry. That means lots of people coming in, using all of their toll roads, providing them with a steady stream of income. It also has pretty high property taxes. So all of these taxes, which have to be paid, and they're paid based on the amount of money you have spent on your property or the things that you purchase, which is a regressive tax. What that means is that whether you're a millionaire or you're below the poverty line, you're paying the exact same tax for the things that you purchase. I'm sorry, guys, but this isn't the win that you think it is. Godspeed.
So what this young lady just explained, and let's look at this situation logically, because she does have truth in what she's saying. There's still going to need to be taxes. You're still going to be taxed on your gas, your food, at stores for clothing. You're still going to be taxed on property tax and things like that. Now, what she explained, as far as, let's take for instance the example that she explained about what's going on in Florida, with they don't have any personal income tax. So throughout the year, you're not being personally taxed. So yes, you technically, let's say, it's just being honest, you're expected to be an adult. So you may need to save the extra cash to pay your property tax, which may hike up a tiny bit, or you expect it to, pay a bit of increase on, taxes on your food, gas, things like that. Because, just logically speaking, yes, these entities need to be paid for. Your emergency systems, police, all the government situations that actually, taxes do pay these government situations, they pay these people, and things like that. So yes, it is what it is. So to eliminate personal state tax, I could see where, maybe the the taxes on the back end for gas and other little things like that would go up. But all I'm saying is, though, if that's the case, though, to lower set taxes like that, to bring in other businesses and things like that, and provide more jobs that are higher paying and things like that, people could possibly afford that if they actually, use this situation properly. So, okay, we're going to keep moving and we're going to keep diving in this situation here because, Mississippi is new to this no personal income tax situation. So let's go here now and we're going to see what Brother Anton Daniels had to say. Shout out to Brother Anton Daniels.
And what the French toast is there to think about?
And yes, I do follow Brother Anton Daniels, and I suggest you do as well. So we're going to go here now. Let's check this out.
Meanwhile, Mississippi taking matters into its own hands to put more money in the pockets of residents. The governor signing an historic bill this week to abolish the state's income tax, becoming the 10th state in the nation to eliminate income tax. Joining me now in a Fox Business exclusive is the governor of Mississippi, Tate Reeves. Governor, great to have you this weekend. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Maria. It's great to see you, and it's a great day to be an American, and it's a great day to be a Mississippian.
Well, this bill has been in the works for 15 years. Tell us what it will mean for the Mississippi economy.
Well, this is, Maria, this is our one big, beautiful bill in Mississippi. We've been working to cut taxes and moving towards eliminating the income tax, and I was finally able to sign a bill into law this week that over time gets us to accomplish exactly that goal. In Mississippi, we believe government ought to take less so that our people get to keep more of their money.
And when you look at other states that have no income tax, you've seen a huge surge of individuals moving from high tax states to low tax states or no income tax states. Is that what you're expecting?
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you see not only economic growth in those states with no income tax, you also see population growth in those states. And we think we have a beautiful state in Mississippi. We've got a beautiful coastline on the Gulf of America. And I will just tell you that we have seen significant economic growth over the last 5 years. We've seen over $30 billion in new capital investment flowing to our state. And we think by eliminating our income tax, we're going to see not only more income and capital flow into our state, we think we're going to see more people flow into our state. And so it's an opportunity for us to be more competitive on the national landscape. And we think it's going to work beautifully.
Now, to back up Governor Tate on that situation, yes, to do this, and we also do see the influx of individuals moving from these high tax states, and these are just facts, to states with no personal income tax. But yeah, though, on the back end, yeah, you may pay just $1 or $2 more or 50 cents, something like that more on certain goods and services. But the more people that are in that area, the more the tax revenue can work for the economy in that particular state. And it just works that way. And then also being able to bring in certain corporations and also businesses and things like that provide more jobs and better opportunities and things like that, where people can actually grow with these jobs and economic wise, which is better for the economy of said state. So it just is what it is here. So I'm excited to see how this is going to work, excited to see how this is going to go, especially for Mississippi. And of course, Mississippi is not necessarily a huge tourist attraction, but there are amenities to where if we do allow more businesses to come in with ideas and things like that to maybe make Mississippi a somewhat of a tourist attraction, definitely on the coast and other little places and things like that. Maybe, of course, the revenue will be there to provide set things to where the other taxes outside of the personal tax wouldn't just be so super large and everybody could, benefit.
That
Hold on. All right, here we go.
Mississippi becomes, I believe, the 10th state. The other states that do not have income taxes is Alaska, Florida, Nevada, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Tennessee. Tennessee, a lot of people moved there over the pandemic. I know that there was a lot of Republicans that moved from the West Coast over to Tennessee, to Nashville in particular. Texas, obviously we know Texas, Washington, and Wyoming, okay? Now Mississippi becomes the 10th state to not have income taxes, which is an absolute boon for the state. So let me break this down from a C student's perspective, and then we're going to share the rest of what my breakdown and analysis is on the Millionaire Morning Show tomorrow, so that you guys can be informed and then we can have a full-scale understanding of whether or not you should invest in Mississippi or not. Now, me personally, I love Mississippi, and we'll get back to this video shortly. I love.
Yes, like I say, I do follow Anton Daniels. Anton Daniels always says that he loves to go to Biloxi and things like that and enjoy himself down there. Biloxi, I've been there plenty of times. It's cool, definitely cool, laid back. Mississippi is a very laid back place. Relaxation is definitely a part of the state.
I love Mississippi because Mississippi it has Biloxi. Right, I'm a fan of Biloxi. I fly down Biloxi. I said the Beau Rivage. Right, a mini Bellagio. Right, and then you have 5 other casinos all around there. That is very entertaining. The people are great. We have the drive down at the coast. I forgot what the name of it is, so I go down there for that. And Biloxi is a place that I actually go and visit and vacation at when a lot of times people are on spring break. They run down to Florida. They run down to some other place. I go to Biloxi, Mississippi, because I believe that Biloxi is actually an awesome place to vacation at. I'll come back to that in a second. But I think that Mississippi is going to boom. It has largely been a aircraft, military town / Navy / maybe not Navy, but Air Force town. Right. And maybe I'll be looking to invest some money down in Mississippi because I think that it's a huge opportunity down there. Usually when I stay in Biloxi, it's only an hour drive, less than an hour drive to get over to New Orleans so that I don't have to stay in Louisiana per se. But the reason that no state income tax actually benefits the state, which liberals do not understand, liberals that live over in Los Angeles, liberals that live in New York, liberals that live in Democratic strongholds in Colorado, for example, they don't understand it is because what it does is it invites commerce, it invites business, it invites people to the state that has no income tax, which generally usually causes more small businesses. It spurs more economic activity. It inspires people to invest more inside of the state, and they build more, which then creates an economy within itself. So the more government that is removed, which Republicans are for less government, the more opportunity arise that hasn't, where you can create new industries that basically allows for people to thrive, lower the cost of living. For example, I'll give you a major example. Usually some markets of NBA teams are able to entice certain players to come to their market because they then can get a better contract because they don't have to pay any state income tax. Right. Texas is huge for that. San Antonio, Houston Rockets, Dallas Mavericks, all of those teams, they don't pay state income tax. Now, the opposite of that is that every state that they play in, they still have to pay taxes for that because that's just a clause that's inside of their contract, but they don't have to pay income tax. But it spurs economic activity, which then forces other states to have to compete, right? So when you have other states that then have to play a role in whether or not their citizens are successful, or you have an influx of people coming into another state because they're leaving your state because it's a brain drain, or it's not good for business, or they don't entice people to come there, or it's not enough economic activity, or they don't have a specific opportunities for certain people, right? Some places are hubs for technology. Other places are hubs for construction or the military or all of these other specific industries that thrive there. Texas obviously is a hub for oil. It has been a boom bust state for oil. And these industries then can thrive because they create businesses which spur other businesses that then depend on them in order to be successful. And that's one of the reasons why you want to remove and you want to have less government regulation, more opportunity for people, and then they're able to thrive. And so when people say they want more taxes or tax the rich, Mississippi's and state like it is actually removing the taxes, which creates more opportunity for the people that then move there or live there for them to be able to pour more into themselves or more into their businesses.
Right. Yo. And that's where we at. And that's where we at. And, you know, of course, it makes common sense and things like that. Now, also, too, I get what, the young lady was saying, too, as well, about, how, the taxes will move to, the food, gas, all other things. And yes, it will. And, it makes sense, of course, we still have to pay our law officials, other little amenities and things like that, because, that's how it works. But to be able to bring in more businesses, to be able to bring in more people that want to move here to actually help to, pay the, excuse me, to actually be able to help to pay the little taxes, the gas tax and food tax, all the, the other little taxes and stuff like that. Yes, it will help the economy. The more people paying taxes is, a burden off everybody. So this is where we at right now. Mississippi is deciding to join the no state income tax situation. Like 9 other states, it's becoming the 10th, and this is where we at. But it is what it is, though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.